Good afternoon, everyone. I am Paul Perdue, and I am a nerd. And although it's not as pronounced as it was this morning, with the cold that I have, I am the Barry White version of a nerd. Today we are going to talk about two topics in our virtual user group meeting that we like to call the water cooler. Mary Jo is going to start with all the different and many ways that you can get help in STI software, and there are a lot of them. And then I'm going to close up with how to set up a credit card account so that it can be reconciled just like a bank account. So before I do that, I want to do a little housekeeping and show you that you have something that looks something like this and has a little bar that juts out to the side, or a box that juts out to the side. And if you click on this icon that looks like arrows pointing to the right, it will slide the big box out of the way so that you can see everything. On this box, you then have, once you do that, those icons will point to the right, left then, and you can slide the box back out into view by clicking it again. And you can type questions here if you have a question for us. Or, if you're feeling brave, you can raise your hand using this icon that looks like a hand with an arrow in front of it. And we will notice that, and we will unmute your microphone, and you can ask your question. So I'm going to get that out of the way, and I'm going to get Mary Jo into tabs and turn everything over to her. Mary Jo.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our meeting. I am going to go over several different ways that you can access help in any of our modules of our software. The first thing I want to go over, a lot of times if you want to call tech support and you're on maintenance, you don't know how to get there, what's their number, what are they going to need from me, that kind of stuff, what version am I on, what release date do I have, that kind of thing. Or sometimes you may have questions about what's my maximum timekeeper limit, or how many did I purchase. You might have purchased the software. You may not have done it. Someone prior to you may have purchased it, and you want to know that information. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go up to the Help key, and in every module we have this Help button up here, and it would just be specific for that module, but you can get into some functions like going to the website and saying that's all going to be the same. But if you want to find out, and I'm in tabs right now, how many timekeepers that you purchase. I'm going to come down here to the About tab 3. And this About tab 3 is going to give you most of the information I just talked about. When I click on that, the first thing I'm going to know is I'm going to know what version of the software I'm on and what release it is. If I'm on just 15.1, if I'm on 14.2, whatever that is, I'm going to know that information right here at the top. The second piece of information here is what your serial number is. That will be right here. And then if you are on maintenance and you do want to call tech support, this is the tech support number here. And when you do call tech support, they will ask you for your serial number. So it's always good to just come right in here, go to About tabs 3 or About GL or About Practice Master, whatever module you have a question on, and have that serial number ready when you call. The next information I want you to notice is in the second box here. You've got, this is going to give you who's the user right now, what the current working directory, where that software is loaded, and what your release date is. Sometimes when you call tech support, they're going to want to know what your release date is, because you might have different, you might have 15.2, but it might have been released on different dates. So they're going to want to know that information. If you go ahead and you arrow down here, and I'm just going to come down a little ways, and it will say my active user limit and my maximum timekeeper limit. So I know that in this test demo data that we have, that we've got a maximum of 99 timekeepers. And then the active user limit, I have 200 can be in there at once. So that is just some information there that you might find helpful if you ever want to find that information quickly. So I'm going to get out of that. And now we're going to go up to the actual help topics in general. If you just have a quick question on, statements, how do I do statements, and you just want to find some information, we can just go into the help topics. And then in the contents, there's actually a statements in here already. So I could do the drop down next to the contents, and there are some pre-loaded topics in here that I could go on. And if this fits what I'm looking for, I could click on one of those. If not, I can go to the index, and then I can type statements up here at the top, and then it will go ahead and take me into any information about statements here. So again, that's just some other information. And then I also could search by statements. And again, that would give me even a whole nother set of information that I could pick from. So if you don't find it under that initial contents, you can try the index and you can try the search. And then over here on the side, when you first open the software or the help, there's also some statement topics down here as well. So if I scroll down on this screen, you can see, whoops, a little too far, sorry about that. If I scroll down or up on this screen, I can find all the topics that I have on statements right here on that first screen. So that's a whole bunch of information right there on any other topic that you want to type in. If it's not statements, it's something more specific, you can go ahead and you can type that into your search or your index, and that would take you to that topic. So that's a place that you can go. My next thing that I'd like to cover on statements is the multimedia tutorials. These are an excellent training tool for you or for new staff when they come in. They're actually videos that will show you how to use the software. And if I go ahead and I click on the multimedia tutorial, move that up a little bit here, I can come in and I'm going to go back to my, Paul, do you have this loaded on yours? I don't know if Paul has it loaded on here. But you'll have a list of topics for your multimedia tutorials, and you can choose whether or not you want sound or text or just text, and then it will actually play a video for you, and if you have the sound on, it'll talk to you, and it will move the mouse, and it will point to this, how to prepare a statement. It would go ahead in, and it would tell you, this is how we're going to go in, and we're going to do this. I'm going to try and come down and see, but I don't think this is loaded on our test data. Let's just try. We'll try one with the. Yeah,
Bob was supposed to check that this morning.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think it's going to open anything with adding fees either. Sound. Yeah, they're not loaded on our test data. But what you'll do is. I'm sorry.
But you can get to them from here if they're loaded correctly.
Yes, and then what that would do, it would open a menu on the side, and it would say, here's all the topics that we have videos on, and you'll go ahead and you would click on that topic, and then, like I said, you can do sound and text or just text, and then there are some F keys that you can do. F11 will pause, F12 will resume. You can page up and page down to get to the next screen or the previous screen. And then if you just want to return to the main menu screen because you've watched that tutorial and you just want to go back, you just can hit your home key, and that will take you right back to the main menu. If you want to exit the tutorial completely, you'll go ahead and you will just hit the escape key, and that will take you right out. But it is very, very useful. They're wonderful topics, wonderful videos. STI has put together some really good training tools there for that multimedia tutorial. And just about all topics throughout Practice Master or tabs are available in those multimedia tutorials. So if you're having trouble or you want to train some new employees, I suggest you go in and watch 1 or 2 of them a day. They're usually about 5 minutes long, depending. I mean, some might be a little longer, some might be a little shorter, just depending on the topic. And you can go in, just watch a couple a day until you've gone through, and then you'll actually have went through all the software and know all the ins and outs there.
Mary Jo, we have a question. Kim is asking when PM upgrades are done, or tabs or AP, or any of the upgrades are done from, for instance, version 15.1 to 15.2, are the tutorials upgraded with current information as well?
Yes. Yes, they are. That will be loaded in. When you load in that 15 software from version 14, it will go right in and it will put in those multimedia tutorials and update those files for you. Okay? All right, I'm going to go ahead and get out of this. And the next area that I want to talk about is the tip of the day. And under Help again, we've got the tip of the day. Now, I don't know how many of you, whenever you start the software, you get this little box, and every time you come in, it will pop up, and it gets annoying. I mean, for me, I'm like, okay, I don't need to know the tip of the day anymore. So I always just go ahead and click the Do Not Show This Tips at the startup anymore, and then that will go away. But your tips don't go away. They're always still available up here under Help, under Tip of the Day. So if you just don't want to see it every time you start the software, you want to just come in and look through them on your own pace, you can just come up to Help, click on Tip of the Day, and then you can just go ahead in and hit Next Tip, Next Tip, Next Tip, and you can just go ahead in and read those tips of the day when you want to, instead of having it force you to see that every morning or every afternoon when you log in. Okay? The other area I want to talk about on Help is the Internet resources. So you've gone through your help topic is up here. You didn't find your answer. You can come into the Internet resources, and there's several different things here that are available. If you go to the website, a lot of you want to know, where do I get manuals? If you get software shipped and there's no manuals, paper manuals with it, where can I find those? Well, if you click on the website, it'll take you right out into our STI website. And once you get there, there is a support tab, and then you can go down here to documentation. And if you click on that documentation, it's going to take you into a place where you can go in and you can print manuals right here. So if you needed to print the version 15 manuals, you can come in here, and I'm going to just scroll down because they're right down below here. And you can go in and you can print the different manuals for the different types of software that you have. If you've got General Ledger and you want the General Ledger manual, you can do that. If you've got tabs, Practice Master, AP, you can just print the ones that you want. You can open them and download them and save them. You don't even have to print them, and then you can reference them later. So this is where those are available. So again, that's to Internet resources, and then go to website, go to the support tab, and then go to the documentation, and all the manuals are available there. And then also, if we go back and you go to your support, now I'm going to get out of that part. So anyway, that's where your manuals are. And then if you go back to your help and you go to Internet resources, the next place is the knowledge base. And I was going to show you how to get to it right from there, but it's easier just to go ahead and click on it right here and take you right to the knowledge base right here. What knowledge base is articles that STI have written on various topics that have come up over the years. If there's issues, troubleshooting different things, specific help for a topic, it comes right from them, and it's an article that they've researched, and they've put some how-tos in there for you. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the knowledge base. Again, it's going to take me back out to the STI website, but it will take me right to the knowledge base. Once that opens up, you're going to have some choices again here. And again, you can look on the content if you want, and that should load that in there in just a second.
And if you're wondering why it's taking so long, it's because I'm using Google Chrome. So when you hear about how fast Google Chrome is, you might remember this experience.
All right, so here's your basic content. Something I want to point out right here is there are some what's new articles in here. So if you've just updated from a previous version, you can come in here and you can find the what's new very quickly. There's also out on the help button a what's new as well that will take you right in to see the new documents that have all the new features for that version that you just updated to. So anytime you update, if you've updated from version 12 to version 15, then I suggest you come in and you print those what's new articles for version 12, 12.1, 12.2, version 14, 14.123, because every release there was some new features that got added. So you're going to want to read up on that. You can also do the index. And again, that will load a whole bunch of topics here. A lot of times if you get errors or things like that, that's where I look up the error number. Or if you just want to type in a topic, you can go ahead and, again, we can use our statements as an example. And it will show me, if I click on this, any articles that have been posted on statements. All about statement numbering, if you've got questions about why your statements are numbering a certain way. All about finance charges, things like that. There's all kinds of different articles that have been written in here concerning all those topics, troubleshooting, things like that. And if I click on the all about statement numbering, you'll see that all articles have a number. They're usually an R number and then followed by some digits after that. You can see then that I've got different information available about statement numbering. So if I have an issue with that, I can go down and I can just read this and print this article. There's a printer-friendly. You can print it off, and it has some how-to instructions on different things or things that you can do to try to troubleshoot on your own. Okay? You can also search by an article number if you know it, or you can go in here and you can just do a query, and you can, again, you can do exact phrase, all the words, any of the words, things like that. And then you can do a search, and it will take you to any information about that topic as well. Okay? So that's the knowledge base. Again, I'm going to go back into the Internet resources. The user newsletter, that's the other little box that pops up on the first of every month that it asks you, do you want to read the newsletter now, or do you want to wait until later or just remind me next month. Well, a lot of times you don't have time to go in and read it right then, and you might say, remind me next time I start tabs, or remind me next month. Well, if you do that, you can come in here and you can go to user newsletter and then type that password in, and then it'll take you out to the website where you can print that newsletter and then any prior newsletters as well. So if that's a little annoying box and you don't have time to mess with it and you just hit remind me next month, but you did want to go back and see it, that's where you can go to do it. The other thing that you can do is you can check for your software updates here in Help. If I click on my software update button, it will take me into the next version that we need to update to. And you can see right now I've got version 15.2, and the last modified was 9.18. Well, if my version back out when I did my About tab 3 is prior to 9.18, then there's a new update that I need to download. So then you would just hit the all, and then you can go ahead and you can download that most current version. If you have any trouble with that, or you have questions about where to download it, or that's just not your thing, we're always available to help you do that as well. So that's where you can check for your version updates. And then I also told you could do the What's New right here. If you go ahead and click on the What's New, that will take you right in and show you the articles for what's new for the different versions very quickly right here. So you can do the What's New for 15.2, 15.1, 14.3, 14.2, whatever you're updating from. Like I said, these are excellent. You need to go ahead in there and read about those new features. Okay. The last help that I want to show you, we were talking about statements. So if I was on the Generate Statements tab and I get to my transaction and I don't know what to put here, I'm not sure exactly what these dates mean or any of that, we always have this yellow question mark, and I call it page-sensitive help. And this is on all of our pages and tabs, and you can click on that yellow question mark, and it will take you right in to fields that are specific for that page that I'm on. You can see that I've got my client transaction options and sort tabs just like I have across the top. If I have a question about the transaction page, I can just click on that transaction. And then I can see it's going to give me my fees, expenses, advances, and payments, so I can choose what I have a question on. If I have a question on fees, that's going to take me right in. And then again, if I move this down, you can see that I've got, it's going right down to each field that are on here. If I don't know what this fee timekeeper means, and if I'm supposed to put something there, I can click on fee timekeeper. And again, it's going to tell me exactly what does that mean if I put a timekeeper in here. So that gets very, very specific on the page that you're on and can answer some good questions that way. And then, of course, the fail-safe that I always say in here is if you've tried all of these options and nothing has worked, then you can just call me at 1-800-475-8104, extension 802, and I can help you get through it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and send it over to Paul, and he's going to talk to you about some credit card invoices.
And she only left me 11 minutes to do it, and you would think that talking about making a credit card account reconcilable would be something that would take more time than explaining all the different help options that are available in STI Software, but that's not the case. It's actually very simple. Right now, you can set up an account in your chart of accounts to represent your credit card, and you can make manual entries in the journal or maybe through AP to represent the different things that you're being billed each month on your credit card statement and balance it that way. I'd say that at least half of the people that use the software do it that way. But of course, that's like taking your bank statement at the end of the month and not having put anything into AP until you get your bank statement, and then trusting that everything that's on the bank statement is correct. And that's not how people reconcile their bank accounts. They, on a day-by-day basis, when they write checks, they go into their check register so that at the end of the month, when they get their bank statement, they are merely reconciling it against their records. That's not what people are typically doing with credit cards. They are typically getting that credit card statement, totaling up how much was entertainment, how much was gas, how much was copy charges or office supplies, and kind of making a general lump sum entry. The problem with that is, A, you're trusting what's on your credit card statement to be correct, and B, you're probably, if you're doing it that way, posting in the wrong month because you don't get your credit card statement for June until July. By the time you get your June credit card statement, you've probably already closed your month. It depends, of course, on how your billing cycle goes. So What we propose is that when you set up your credit card account in the chart of accounts, you set it up as a bank account. We know it's not technically a bank account, but in essence, it really is. You are making charges that you are then going to have to pay for later on, and incurring certain expenses, overdraft fees if you have them, or over-limit fees, finance charges, annual charges for a credit card, although I don't think I've seen a credit card with an annual charge in a long time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to General Ledger, and I'm going to show you an account that we set up, which is a Chase Gold Visa account. And all we did was we set it up exactly the way we would, but we made it a bank account, and we put in bank account info. We called it Chase Bank for the bank name. We called it a Gold Visa for the account name, and we put in the account number. Although you don't need to put the account number in, and it probably would be a good idea not to put the account number in. My number is made up. What this means then is that when we go into AP, we can write checks on that account. Now, we're not really writing a check. Let's say that Bob, the attorney, comes in, and he has just been to Luigi's, and he has a receipt from lunch. He took one of the firm's prospective clients to lunch. So I'm going to go into invoices, and I'm going to go up to Luigi's. It's Luigi's Gastrointestinal Delight is the name of the restaurant. And I'm going to pull up this Mark Lunch with Mr. Jones entry. And all I'm doing is taking that receipt that I have, that credit card receipt, entering it with the date and a description of what it was and the amount that it was. I'm making it a manual check, and I'm giving it a check number that corresponds with the day that it was written. Now, my demo data system thinks today is 11/17/09, so I put in 09/11/17/01. That means it's the first electronic transfer or electronic transaction that's been entered against this Chase Gold Visa bank account on the 11/17/09. You have to be careful. You have to write these checks against Chase Gold Visa. That's the bank account you set up. Then when you go over to General Ledger, it already knows that when you write checks or enter receipts from Luigi's that they're entertainment, so that should be all set. And if
you will
it's
need
something,
to set it up the first time, Paul.
That's
correct.
correct.
Will need to use that GLS account the first time, and then it will remember from then.
It knows that because the first time I did it, I did that. That's correct, Mary Jo. And then if it's something that you're going to bill to the client, bam, right away, you can go over and bill it to the client. Another advantage, you don't wait till you get the credit card statement and find the things that are on the credit card statement that should be billed to clients. You do them the minute you get the receipts, okay? Now, how do you set up your vendors? There are a couple ways. I set up Luigi's to indicate that the firm always goes to Luigi's, and therefore we set up a separate vendor for Luigi's. Some people might not do that. You might set up a food on credit card, gas on credit card, perhaps an office supplies on credit card, perhaps a copy expenses on credit card, and simply use those vendors to categorize, so you don't have to set up, CopyMax in Dallas, Texas, and CopyMax in Lincoln, Nebraska, and wherever else your litigators may be flying to litigate. You simply set up one vendor to represent copy charges that are made on the credit card. You can, of course, put whatever description you want in the description field. So you can even say this was copy charges for the Jones matter in Dallas at the Dallas CopyMax in this line here. Then, once you've gone through the month and you've entered all the receipts that you have into the system as being charges against this Chase Gold Visa, all you have to do then is go in to Reconcile, and when you reconcile, you'll be reconciling the Chase Gold Visa account, not the bank account. I'm not going to put in beginning and ending because I didn't go so far as to set it up with that. But here are a payment that we made plus the two charges. Now, let's say, for instance, let's go back here. Let's go to accounts payable, and let's do one of these. Let's say that we are going to do some copy expenses for $25.72. So it's going to be, well, not copy. Let's make it gas. And so we're going to enter it with today's date, or maybe it's a different date. It's a receipt that somebody gave me from last week, so it's last Tuesday or whatever. It's gas for Bob's trip to Indy. It's $25.72. This is the receipt that Bob has come in and given me and told me that he charged this amount on the credit card, the Chase Gold Visa. It is a manual check because you're not actually writing a check to the gas station. You're using the credit card. And we will use 09111201 because we've got the date represented, 091112, and then 01. It's the first check we wrote on that day. And we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to go over here, and here, as Mary Jo said, the first time we do this, I'm just going to put it into entertainment simply because I know where that is, or don't know where that is. There we go. And journal is 3. The amount is the amount of the check. We save that, and we're done. So we have made this entry for gas on credit card for $25. We'll pull this back up. $25.72 on this day. And now when we go into Reconcile in GL, and we reconcile that Chase Gold Visa, that is also going to be there. Oh, no, I didn't post.
You always have to post your check.
I always have to post everything in accounts payable. There we go. We posted our one transaction. We're going to go back into GL. We're going to go back into reconciliation right here. It's the Chase Gold Visa, today's date, and here we go. Now we've got these 3 entries. We look at the statement from Chase. We see this one. We see the payment that we made from last month. We see the charge from Luigi's and the other charge from Luigi's, and bam. We're balanced. So it's just like a checking account, only you are putting your charges in as if they were manual checks. You are writing checks on the firm checking account, posting them against this account. That creates this deposit entry, and it reconciles like a dream. Okay? You don't have to go through that check statement at the end of the month and figure out what all the different charges were. You don't have to try to post-date them if you want to get them into the proper month. You don't have to wait till the credit card statement comes to try and get them onto the client's bill. They're going to happen right when the receipt is entered into the system. And again, you get that real-time, true view of what your financial situation is instead of waiting till a month later when you get a credit card statement to get this information in there. And then, since you've done that, reconciliation is a breeze because you simply go in, make sure you've got all the entries that you need in reconciliation. Occasionally you might have missed one. You'll have to go back and put it in, come back in, check everything off, and hopefully get a difference of 0 and reconcile. Any questions, Mary Jo?
Paul, were you going to show them how to do the payment side of it?
Well, the payment side would be in accounts payable. If we're going to write a check to pay off this credit card statement, we would make it to Chase with whatever date.
Set up a vendor for Chase Gold.
Set up a vendor for Chase Gold Visa because you're going to pay them money. It's the March or the November or whatever, the October 09 statement. It's so much money. And now when we pay it, we do not pay against Chase. We're writing a check out of First Bank. And then when we get over here to the other side, we are posting it against Chase. So that's the difference. When we put our receipts in, we pull them out of the bank account number 2 because that's what those receipts are against. When we write a check to Chase, we aren't writing it out of Chase. We're writing it out of First Bank or whatever our regular operating account is. And over here on the general ledger screen, we're posting it to that Chase account. That's all there is to it. More questions?
No questions here.
Very good. Well, that concludes our September 2009 water cooler, our virtual user group. Next month, we do have our topics ready this time. We will be talking about trust integration with billing, and therefore also with general ledger when a payment's entered to the firm from trust, created to the firm from trust. It goes through to billing and also through to general ledger. So trust integration, and more on EFTs. We touched on them right here when we were talking about entering these credit card receipts as EFTs. You have a lot of things that you may be using the debit card on your regular checking account more often, and that's an EFT. There's no check involved. So we're going to give you some pointers and tips on how to do those effectively so that later on you don't run into trouble. So those are our topics for next month. Everybody have a good day today, and we'll see you next month. Thanks much.